Morning, Jim here. Hope everybody's doing well. It's a nice sunny day out today. Might get some shooting in. I don't know yet. Got a lot going on this week, so probably won't get into too much. What I do want to do is explain budget archery because some people are not looking at it in a way that they can understand it. I don't know that they can understand English really well. Um, Here's the thing. When you look at, I'll give you an example on a mechanical broadheads. You got two mechanical broadheads. One of them is blue, one of them is a titanium looking gray, which it's just stainless steel mostly. But anyway, the blue ones are $1.42 a piece. So you come in a pack of 12, get them for $16.99, which is $17. We'll round up. Because there's a decimal situation where it's a 141.66666. Anyway, so that's 142 when you go to buy it at a store, etc. These are $20 for a 3-pack, so they're about six something, $6 and I think 80 cents a piece, somewhere in there. I don't, I'm college educated, so I have to use a calculator to figure out the exact price, but it's over $6 for one of these, $1.42 for one of these. So, but I'm using the comparison of which one works best in the ballistic mediums in which we'll be using to test them. So these open differently. These are push down, flare out, as to where these are. Yeah, I mean, they'll just drop down like that. So they both deployed quite well in the pumpkin and the basketball that I shot. You have to check those videos out. There's a little slow-mo in there for you just for GP, and that way you got an idea of how well that works out. The Allen wrenches are not the same size if you want to. You're going to have to get a myriad of Allen wrenches in order to work with archery anyway. I'll go into the tools and equipment that you'll need extra, and we'll look at the budget on that as well. So that way, if you pick up a archery kit, so to speak, it'll come in, it'll be one of the best situations you can get for the money. So that way you can get into the sport without a huge hassle or impact in your budget. And that's the biggest thing. It's really, a lot of people have the misconception is it's expensive to get into archery, and it's not. There are bow and arrow kits out there for way less than $100, but you're getting practice stuff. You're not getting robust, hey, I can hunt with this. This is all practice, but you need practice to get good. I've been shooting archery for a very long time, off and on. I just recently got back into it. I had a couple compound bows several years ago, but I never really got a chance to go hunting with those, so I just sold them. But I still had a couple of things from archery, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna get back into this and do some hunting this year, which I haven't done yet, but I will. And I'll film those videos and put those on my Patreon when I do go do that. So if you haven't subscribed to my Patreon, you might want to consider that at some point. That's some more in-depth tutelage on some of the ways you can shoot a bow, or what type of bow shoots best in a certain way. Like a shelf bow, for example, right-hand shelf bow is Mediterranean draw, if you will, but I use a specific type of Mediterranean draw. It's not exactly the same. All three fingers are below the arrow knocking point. So that way I have the arrow up here on my eye when I release it. It's real simple. So I'll go into all that on my Patreon here soon. And that way you guys can get a better perspective on, I've got the bow, now what do I do? So targets are $29 at Walmart. You can get some really cheap foam targets too. You can probably go somewhere to a hardware store and get a big old block of foam for $10 or $15 and use that for a backstop medium, if you will. So that way your target that you choose to use, if you use a robust broadhead that's really cheap, you'll definitely go through your target and into the foam. That way you have a safe shooting experience. There'll also be the safety video that's going to be coming up as well. So you might want to get into that knowledge, but I also have some very expensive stuff. Okay, so these arrows are about $7 a piece. And I have like 13 of those. Back here. They don't like to go in there. All right, so these arrows come in a pack of 6 for $35, 34 and some change at Walmart. These broadheads are not cheap. These are not budget friendly, but for the hunting, I will be using these types of broadheads because of their impact. They have a very, very heavy impact. A lot of people don't understand after a certain distance, you lose the force of the arrow and gravity really takes over, and that's your gravity force. With a heavier head, and I'll show this to you as well. These are both 300 grain from the same maker. This is the Vantage Point Archery 300 grain broadhead, triple blade, tri blade with about a 2-inch. They said 2-inch, about 100. I don't know that it's 2-inch. Hang on, it's right here. 1.5-inch cut. Okay, the other one has the 2-inch, the mechanical. The 1.5-inch cut is what you're looking at. So these are $80 for 3 of them, $79.99, and it's free shipping. You pay a little bit of taxes, a little over $80. These are $11.99 for 12, 300 grain field points. These are good for practice. You want to shoot these so that way you've got an idea where this hits, because you don't want to shoot this because it'll mess the blade up. But this is tool carbon steel. Okay. So it's going to have, yeah, semi. So it's going to have the possibility that it will break if you use this as testing. Brought it, and that it's a pain in the butt to get out of a target. I don't even need to tell you that. So shooting that into a target, you're going to take 15 minutes to get it out, at least. With these, yeah, there's no issue. It tapers down at the end, so it slips right out of the target fairly simply. And you can also still use these for hunting, smaller game, if you need to. So this is a good idea to have these. If you do have the ability to get these broadheads, I suggest you do. There are other 2-blade single beveled broadheads. I do have some single beveled as well. I don't have them in this mess. Also wanted to talk to you about these quivers. Almost lost the word. This is ambidextrous. I can put it on either side, which is really cool. So I've got it on this side, so it'll fit on my go down this way. The left hand is where I'll have this on my left side and kind of behind me, and I'll show you why here in a minute. This costs only $12 and some change, and I'll put on a link in the description below for that. This one is a little bit more expensive, and it costs like $37 right now is what it is, but it's got a little pocket. It goes on your hip. I got my little black belt on there. This will go on my right side, and it'll lean back. It'll lean back like this. So it'll be really interesting to use this and work with that. So I got 2 other arrows in here that do not have mechanical heads on them. Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, but they're just the same size arrows. So Mossy Oak. Also, they run about, Mossy Oaks run about $10. I think I want to say the other arrows that I do get are a lot cheaper. I also have some wooden arrows and some bamboo arrows that I'll be going into and showing you. I'll be shooting those off a traditional bow. It'll be the Mongolian horse bow that I have. I'll be using that one for the medieval or traditional type arrows that are wooden. I also have the Turkish short bow. It's a 50-pound bow. I'll be using that. And then, of course, for the hunting and varmint control, because they're already friend of mine lost 2 cats already. She don't know where they are. She hasn't seen 2 cats. So she's assuming that coyotes came in and got them. There's no way for them to tell that because they don't yelp. or the cats went out into the cornfield, which is just down the street. And that's it. Well, once she lives on the very edge of town, and this is where I was saying that on the varmint control, you can't shoot a gun there, unless there's an extreme self-defense situation, maybe. But you're still going to get into a situation where they take your gun because you fired a gun in the city or city limits. So a better response, which won't be this broadhead, would be an arrow, because they lose their energy. Okay, once you hit the target, it's going to lose its energy and become less lethal, if zero lethal. It just all depends. So inside a city situation, which I practice, her yard is big. You see me, that's the one with the shed. You see the ability for me to shoot an arrow there, which is not an issue for anyone. There's other people up there that do have deer in their backyard, the 3D deer, and they use for practice. So you have to have a knowledge of what weapons to use inside the city. This is the whole thing about the combat archery, tactical archery that you can get into. There are multiple channels that help you with that. Mine's going to be the budget end of that. A lot of guys are going to be using 25, 30, 35, 40 pound bows. I'm going to be using 45, 50, and 60 pound bows. And I'm going to be using the same type of style of archery. The Mongolian horse bow is slated at 45, but I put it on the thing, and it's at 56, or the scale that I have. And I'll do like I said, an equipment check in a video, so that way what all the things you may need in order for your budget, or within your budget for your archery gear. So always remember, archery is a fun sport, but if you get into the hunting and or if you have varmint control situations, there's a lot of people losing their animals because of coyotes and small bobcats. I don't think we have any lynx, but I do know that from what I've seen so far in the past 10 years, but the cat issue is becoming more of a bigger issue. And yes, there is a puma or a mountain lion looking thing in the southern part of the county. It's been seen by family members, friends of the family of mine, and they've looked at the option of a response. So I'm going to probably go out there and stalk that and get that going to where I can either find out if it's still there or if it's moved on. Some people call those panthers, but I don't know that would be a good one to. And it could have been a mountain lion pet that somebody had and got loose. That's weirdly enough, people around it and within a certain mile radius, I've seen the cat physically, actually in front of me. Really, really super controlled and very nice, defanged, declawed, total pet situation. Yeah, I don't really go for that myself, but it was there, so I know that they've had them, but if they still have them or if they got rid of them, I have no idea what happened. But I do know that there's one of those out there that has been seen by family members or extended family. Without going into too much blah blah blah. Okay, so the bows are very, very robust that I have. I'll get into some of the cheaper stuff that you can get. I'll post links in the description. Up to 45 pounds, good for practice. You need to get practice in order for you to understand how well, what type of archery you want to get into, because these are double pass. They'll be you can shoot them on the right or left side. So that way if you want to do the Slavic draw or thumb draw, or if you want to do the traditional Mediterranean draw, you can do that. It won't be an issue. So that would be where I'd point you to before I'd say, okay, this is a takedown recurve shelf bow. You can use that. And this is a specific type of draw that you can use on it. So with the left-handed Mandarin duck black hunter that I have, is a really, really good bow. And I'm going to get out there and shoot it at longer ranges in the next few days, if not by not this weekend, but by the next weekend. I know that we have some rain coming up, but we have some nice days and some rain, and then some more nice days that are going to be a little bit warmer. So the air stability will be much nicer. I knew we're going to get some wind today. It's already a little breezy outside now, and it's going to be windy tonight, tomorrow, and the next day. So me going out and shooting a 300 grain broadhead at distance might be effective, but the target arrows are not going to be very effective at all. They'll be scattered all over the target, if not missing the target. So we don't want to do that. Target practice is very good. You can go inside and shoot like I do on my target. You just have to be in control of what you're doing. So that makes it very, very easy and safe. But if you have little kids around, which I live by myself, so it's no big deal. I can do whatever I want. You can have a real serious accident. So safety is the first thing that you have to keep in mind. Never shoot an arrow with another person in the room. So or in the vicinity. You always check your target, make sure you know what's behind it, no matter what you're shooting, guns, arrows, BBs, slingshot. And there's a slingshot compound bow, and I'll get into that as well. They're small, very powerful, and they would be good for small game up to mid-sized game probably. But I'll have to double check all the pros and cons on that because they're not cheap. So the recurve bows I will be presenting to you, or the traditional bows, will be $150 down to about $40, depending upon what's available at the time that I get them and bring them to the program or the channel for you to see. So we'll be getting into that here before too much longer. And you never know, we can have quite a bit going on with some Patreon hunts. We have to just look and see how well that works out. So more bow stuff coming. Look for my shorts. They'll be coming in hot. They're getting quite a bit of attention. So a lot of people are looking at them and commenting. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Ask what you want on the archery subject, and let me know what you think about what type of stuff you'd like to see me shoot with some very, very expensive broadheads. All right. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe.